Right. That darkening on the stage was my cue to come across. I was just telling some friends that a fellow that I have known for the last 20 years as Max, and he's not in this room so I can talk about him while you're not hearing him. Max actually has a real name and I haven't known that for 20 years. How's that? He's got a little name tag with his real live name. I said, did you pretend to be someone else to come here? He said, no, that is my real name. Regardless of how you get in here, you've done well because we maxed out on delegates this year and we had to turn people away, and we maxed out on the stage here as well, and we maxed out outside. If you haven't had a chance yet, we pegged that new little bit of ground out there, the Harbour Masters area, so make sure you go out and you see those teams and companies that are out there with booze as well, and make sure you speak to their geos and the people that are passionate about what they do. Right, my bartering power for this last session of power involves gold bars. I went to get the real gold bar. The $1.4 million gold bar has left with management. So I've got you some gold chocolate bars though, so there you go. Now, my first speaker in this session is the definition of experience. And we've talked a lot about how important it is to have someone with experience to lead teams, especially when they're doing something a little bit new and a little bit innovative. Tom Davidson, do you want to come up here, sir? So we're going to talk about the ACDC experience, and Tom is leading the team. Let's find out what he has that might tickle your interest as investors. Please make him welcome.
Thanks, Chrissy. Thank you all, and good afternoon. We're very pleased to be here today and to share with you the ACDC story and why we're worth a closer look. And I hope you all agree our name is a memorable one, and I hope you find our stories as well. Please take note. Move on. So the ACDC strategy is completely connected to the energy transition, supplying materials for the efficient low carbon capture and storage of energy. We aren't the first ones trying to achieve this, of course. It's a massive opportunity for Australia and our investors like yourselves. Our aim is to be a supplier of separated rare earth elements within Australia using innovative technology and using the mineral monazite as a byproduct for mineral sands mining. Australia has the opportunity to be part of the downstream value adding processing, and we're excited to be playing our part. So why ACDC Metals? So as I just mentioned, we've got that exposure to the energy transition. We listed last year, January of 2023, and we've been hitting our milestones since then. So we completed over 13,000 metres last year, released our maiden JORC resource at Goshen Central, over 600 million tonnes in the ground. Our scoping studies started last October. We're going through the final reviews of them now, and we'll be excited to release them to the market shortly. And we're still well financed. We've still got nearly 5 million cash in the bank. With a plan for this year, we can well and truly execute that. And obviously our key differentiator is the rare earth processing plant, where we take the mineral monazite and start that downstream value add processing to produce a mixed rare earth carbonate. So we've got an experienced board and management team in project development and also in the rare earths, which is not always that easy to find. Our corporate structure, so this is the key one to sort of point out. We've got nearly 5 million in the bank. We're at cash backing. The amount of work that we've achieved over the last year and how we sit amongst our peers, as we'll demonstrate in the next few slides, we're a really good look at. So what are mineral sands and what are the key things to sort of focus on? So with our process plant, we'll be producing a heavy mineral concentrate. So that's the zircon and the titanium minerals. And importantly, and I guess what's become of a focus in these last sort of 3-4 years with the critical minerals push is the monazite and xenotime. So that's the rare earth concentrate. 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was only sort of $500 a tonne. And now last year it was up to the heights of 10,000. And that's what's really grabbed the focus of these mineral sands projects. And so what is the ACDC Metals strategy? So we have our tenements in Western Victoria. We've been drilling them, and the plan is to then to build a process plant in Victoria to produce the heavy mineral concentrate and the rare earth concentrate. We would then take that to our downstream value add processing plant. It will be a separate plant, and we also would have the opportunity to import monazite if need be, which provides us that flexibility. And obviously the key thing which gets everyone excited, and when we talk to the different departments of the states, we going there as the first step of producing the mixed rare earth carbonate is then the idea of creating a hub, and you get those next sequential steps towards magnet manufacture. So our mineral sands projects, so as you can see there, we're in good company. There's an ex-Luca operations. We also have the three names there, VHM, Astron and WIM. They're all at FID right now. They've all got 80 to $120 million market caps. They're all reporting their NPVs of high $800-900 million projects. And so what we have in the ground here is exactly the same. And we're a fast coming second. So as you can see, last year we did complete over the nearly 13,000 metres. We're back drilling now. We started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're shoring up, going back into Goshen, targeting a few key areas where the geos got excited. And we're also going to go and look at a couple other tenements as well, where we sort of found some opportunities as well. So the maiden resource that we released in November last year, so 620 million tonnes, a key amount of indicated 130 million tonnes. So as we've been going through our scoping study and our mining optimizations, we're getting a high portion of indicated material coming through, which gives us great confidence that we can quickly go into that pre-feasibility, into that next phase. And important to note that is the trio makeup of the magnetic rare earth oxide. So we've got a 21%, which is a good significant portion, and those four rare earth elements, the praseodymium, neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, they're the real money makers, and that's what you want to have as much as possible in there. And the upside, so it's still open on 3 sides, and so that's where we're going back in now and drilling on that sort of right-hand side there of the indicated zone. And also importantly to note is the resource has been based on the 38 micron to 1 mil, which with mineral technologies and the technology advancements in the spiral technology, we're able to get that finer fraction, so down to 20 micron. So obviously that would increase head grade, and grade is king. So when we do some, compare it well against our peers, so zircon, monazite, xenotime, which are the key assemblage that you really want to look at, we peg well against them. And so that's why, when we sort of try and draw these comparisons between the guys that are at FID and where we are right now, that's the real uplift that we see in the company right now as we move forward in this next quarter with lots of news flow coming through, and that's where we hope to see that value add. So our scoping studies are underway right now. We're seeing, given that vast amount of tonnes, when we run these the mining optimizations, we're seeing multi-decade operation at Goshen Central. And we have the ability to be able to target the high-grade zones and really get the economic returns. And these projects, are capturing all infrastructure, so they're everything from woe to go to get these projects going. And also importantly, when we did the drilling last year, we captured an additional 2.5 tonnes worth of material that we could send through the pilot plant, and that's happening right now as we speak. And so within about a month's time, we'll be able to then produce our full suite of products out of the mineral sands operations, so the monazite, xenotime, and your heavy mineral suite. And then we can really start then doing quality testing, talking to off-takers, and then also importantly is then go and take that monazite and go and talk to the likes of ANSTO and be able to get that next phase of our caustic crack processing plant going and really push towards development of that. So as I mentioned here, for the rare earth processing plant, we've got over 6 years worth of test work and development that has been occurring. Our scoping studies nearing completion on that as well, and it's really going to be a vertically integrated operation where you go from the mineral sands operation into the rare earth piece, and we can really upscale it. And so with the caustic crack process we've gone with, the key things that are really to note is the ESG advantages, so the waste minimisation and the ability to separate out those future products, which at this stage might be contained into the waste streams, but we have the ability to pull them out. And so that's really the sort of exciting part for us. So the work plan for calendar year 2024. So we've got lots of work underway right now, and so we're really hoping we'll be able to provide shareholders and potential investors with lots of news flow and provide that upside for the company. So our drill program is underway right now. That we'll be targeting to complete about 7,500 metres across our 3 projects. So assay results will be trickling back in, but the results really from the Goshen Central stuff will enable us to probably go along and do a JORC update middle of the year. And so we're not really chasing more tonnes. We've got enough of that. It's really trying to push up that grade and if you look in the financial model, grade's king if you can get that through. Scoping studies out in the next short period, and that'll really enable us to talk numbers, even though it's a scoping study. It will really enable us to be able to benchmark ourselves. And then getting the products through from Mineral Technologies pilot plant, and then we able to start the process with ANSTO, and really working towards that piece of the rare earth plant, which is really what gets everyone starts the discussions and gets everyone really excited. And so just in summary, why ACDC? So we've got a strong team of project development in this space, plenty of cash to go. We're at cash backing. We've been executing our plan. We've done lots of drilling, resource out, studies underway, and we're right in the heart of this energy transition and providing that piece for the market. All right, thank you very much, and thanks for your support.
All right, first one with a gold bar, 30 seconds to go. Congratulations, big ACDC dude.
First time I've been on
There you
time, I
go.
think.
You could play some of the song on the way out. All right, we talked, when Adam came up earlier today from BDO, he talked to us about mergers and acquisitions and what they mean. So, I'm going to take that time off you. You've left something up there. He talked about mergers and acquisitions and what they meant for companies. So one company which has got very recent experience of this, if you've been watching the news flow for Greenstone, you will know that Greenstone Resources has had a very, very busy week in such a field. How are you going, Christopher Hansen?
It has been a very busy couple of weeks, and it's been a process that's almost been 6 months in the making since Digs and Dealers late last year. So,
right, we are interested to hear more. Would you put your hands together and make him welcome, please?
Thank you. Look, good afternoon, everybody. And look, today we're incredibly excited to be sharing a very significant milestone in the journey of both Greenstone Resources and Horizon Minerals, namely the proposed merger between the two entities, which was announced yesterday. We believe that the combination of these two complementary assets will serve to expedite our path to becoming the next near-term gold producer. At the heart of this merger is the establishment of an entity with a total gold resource inventory exceeding 1.8 million ounces in gold in the Kalgoorlie region of Western Australia. This combined resource base is supported by two cornerstone assets, namely Greenstone's high-grade Burbanks gold asset and Horizon's baseload Barora gold project. The combined asset portfolio, including the two cornerstone assets, serves to support the revised dual-track strategy, firstly focusing on imminent low-capital cash flow opportunities through joint venture mining operations, which will then ultimately support the expedited development of our two long-life and cornerstone assets. This merger isn't just a combination of assets. It's both a strategic and highly complementary consolidation. The merger between Greenstone and Horizon brings four key synergies, namely resources, land holding, strength in the balance sheet, and management skills and expertise. Firstly, on resources, the merged entity will have a total global resource of 1.8 million ounces, located in the heart of the Kalgoorlie goldfields and supported by a wealth of regional infrastructure. Secondly is land holding. The merged entity will have the third largest land holding in the region, second only to Northern Star and Ora Banda. Thirdly, the balance sheet as at the end of the December quarter for the combined groups had cash and listed investments of around $14.9 million, leaving us well positioned to execute on our revised strategy. And finally, management. A lot of the time in these mergers and consolidations, the management structure can be quite contentious. In the case of both Greenstone and Horizon, we had two very complementary management teams, with Greenstone being very much focused on exploration and resource growth, and Horizon being focused on mine development and production. Moving forward, Grant Hayward will be the CEO and Managing Director, and myself, I'll step into a non-executive role on the board. So what does this all mean? And importantly, what does it mean for Greenstone shareholders? The merger will be effected via a scheme of arrangement process, whereby Horizon will acquire all of the ordinary shares and listed options in Greenstone. Importantly for Greenstone shareholders, they'll receive 0.29 Horizon shares for every Greenstone share held. This implies an 89% premium to the last traded price of Greenstone before going into the trading halt last Thursday. For Greenstone shareholders, this will result in us owning 36.9% of the merged group post-completion. And as I mentioned earlier, the merged board of directors will comprise 3 Horizon nominees and 1 from Greenstone, being myself. Finally, the merger carries the full support of the Greenstone team, at board and management, and the completion schedule is scheduled for mid-June this year. There are a number of key shareholder benefits to both Greenstone and Horizon shareholders. For Greenstone, the key benefits are access to Horizon's significant resource base of 1.3 million ounces, as well as the merger being priced at a significant premium. And it brings the strength of Horizon's balance sheet to execute on this revised dual-track strategy. For Horizon, the key benefits are access to Greenstone's high-grade Burbanks gold assets, which serves to lift their global resource grade from 1.7 grams per tonne to 1.9 grams per tonne. And included within that is a pipeline of near-term mining opportunities. However, the real strength of the merger comes from the complementary nature of all of the assets in the portfolio, namely the combination of Greenstone's high-grade gold resources combined with Horizon's base load feed and their dominant regional land position and exploration potential. Beyond the strength and balance sheet and the management composition, the core value of this transaction inherently lies in the complementary nature of these assets and what options that does afford to the merged group moving forward into the future. Principally, it serves to provide the ability for us to be able to expedite that path to commercial production. What Greenstone brings is our flagship Burbanks Gold Project, where over the past 3 years, we've grown the resource from just 140,000 ounces to over 465,000 ounces. And we're just getting started here with only 30% of the upper 500-metre horizon having been explored to date. This is a high-grade share-hosted gold system, which still remains open in all directions. What Horizon brings is an extensive portfolio of advanced stage projects with significant growth potential. Horizon is underpinned by their cornerstone Jarra asset, which hosts over 450,000 ounces. Now, this is a very simple slide. The merged groups will have simply lots and lots of gold. In fact, well over 1.8 million ounces. On completion of the merger, the company will adopt a dual-track growth strategy, the initial focus being on the generation of immediate, low-capital cash flow through toll processing and mining joint ventures. This cash flow will ultimately serve to underpin and support the expedited development of the 2 cornerstone assets, being Burbanks and Barora, while also serving to minimise any future shareholder dilution. The merged group has a very strong pipeline of near-surface mining opportunities, which are currently being assessed for joint venture mining activities, and I'll touch a little bit further on this shortly. Over the next couple of slides, I just want to give a brief overview on the 2 cornerstone assets, being Burbanks and Barora, the pipeline of near-term mining opportunities, and finally touch on the regional exploration potential with the dominant land holding that the merged company will have. Burbanks is Greenstone's cornerstone and flagship asset, which we bring to the merger. Burbanks has historically produced over 420,000 ounces at 10.9 grams per tonne. However, up until about 3 years ago, nobody had drilled a hole deeper than 250 metres on this project or explored the full strike horizon. From left to right across the screen here is a strike horizon of around 4.5 kilometres, with significant portions which haven't even been drilled below about 150 to 200 metres. The deposit here remains open in all directions and has a track record of continued resource growth. The recent 10,000 metre drill campaign that we completed last year added well over 180,000 ounces, and there's significant potential here for future growth. The Barora asset is Horizon's cornerstone asset, which currently hosts a mineral resource of just over 440,000 ounces. Importantly, 77% of Barora's resources are either indicated or inferred, and this is an asset that's only 50 kilometres away from our flagship Burbanks project. Like Burbanks, this is a large mineral system which remains open along strike and at depth, with known mineralisation also existing outside of the current resource area. Importantly, when combined with Burbanks, it's a source of baseload feed and supports our aspirational target of the combined entity producing between 60 to 80,000 ounces per annum. The merged group will be well placed to take advantage of the high gold price and also the depressed Australian dollar. Both Greenstone and Horizon bring a large number of high-grade satellite mining opportunities, while the core focus of the merged group will very much remain the development of the two cornerstone assets. We have the ability to generate a source of non-dilutive funding while we continue to de-risk these assets. The near-term mining opportunities are really summarised by these key 6 projects, but there are a plethora of other projects that also sit within the portfolio. Outside of the merged group's 2 cornerstone projects and a pipeline of near-term development opportunities, the merged group also controls the 3rd largest land holding in the region, with real potential for further discoveries and also extensions to existing resources. Thank you all very much for your time, and for further information, I'd very much encourage you to come by our booth or visit our website. Thank you.
Oh, he's left. You don't like chocolate? This is fabulous. I'm doing very well today. I was going to say we'd like one for you, and would you like one for your new partner?
I would love one.
There you go. Well done. Congratulations to you. It's great news. All right, team. Our next presenter up on stage. Actually, I went looking for our next presenter yesterday. I went out and found his little booth, Jim Malone, Si6, and he wasn't there, but his team was there, and they were very, very excited. And then I finally, by accident, bumped into Jim out in the exhibition hall. He was very, very excited as well. I said, "What are you excited about?" He said, "Chrissy, you wait. I've got 3 things I want to tell them, 3 things." So prepare to be excited, everyone, and please welcome Jim Malone to the Stone for Explorers.
Thanks very much, Chrissy, and welcome everybody here, and thanks for Vertical Events and for all of you people for turning up today. It's quite a big day today because it's St. Valentine's Day, so it's a great day for the romantics. It's Ash Wednesday, so it's a very important day for the religious. And it's also Si6 are presenting, so I think it's potentially a great day for anyone who wants to make a bit of money this year, because I think we've got a really good opportunity here with the assets that we've got and a dedicated team to make sure that all our shareholders have a very good year. Si6, we're a diversified exploration company that's building a portfolio of critical and precious minerals assets in Brazil, Botswana and WA. Just a quick company overview. Capital structure, we've got 2.2 billion shares on issue. We've got a market cap of $11 million, so we're a small market cap. We've got an experienced board of directors. If you look at our share price there, it certainly, when we announced our Brazilian deal, it certainly went the right direction. We've come back like a lot of companies that are dealing in rare earths and lithium, but I think neither of those commodities are going away, so I'm sure they're all going to have their day at some stage. And we've also got a gold asset, and I think it's going to be a pretty good year for gold as well. So what's the investment proposition? We're targeting critical minerals in Tier 1 mining jurisdictions, and we've also got a 100% gold asset in WA for a strategic play. In Brazil, we just recently concluded an acquisition of a 50% interest in a suite of projects which are mainly in the Minas Gerais state of Brazil. We have a rare earth project. We've got 10 licenses, 7 of them in Minas Gerais. The other 3 are in 2 other parts of Brazil, which I'll show you a map very quickly. One of the projects, the licenses, 2 of the licenses are in the south of Brazil, in the Caldeira region, which is very close to, and in fact, one of our projects is alongside Meteoric's project down there, and they're the clay rare earths, and it's also nearby to VMM, who have been quite successful. And both those companies have had stellar runs over the last 18 months. I think certainly Meteoric's gone from, you know, very low market cap to 450 million, and I think might have been over $500 million at one stage. And VMM's had a good run as well. We've also got 5 licenses in the Lithium Valley, which is up to the up in the northern part of Minas Gerais. And again, we're very close to Sigma's rather large. They're a $2.5 billion Canadian lithium producer, started producing last year. and also quite close to a number of the licenses held by Latin Resources, who presented today, who have also had a very, very successful last 18 months with their value. So we've got a large land holding there. There's 17,000 hectares. Our second project is which is the historic project of the company, is nickel and copper in Botswana, and there's 3 projects there. We just completed about a $2 million drilling program on our 3 projects that we own 65% of in a JV in Botswana. We had some pretty good results on the copper and also on the nickel project, which is the Maybelly North, which actually already has a resource, and we'd be hoping to building on that when we get the results in. Our third project is a gold project in Leonora. I'll get onto that later. It's got significant exploration potential. It's got a resource of 154,000 ounces, and it's strategically located. Just a sort of overall strategy on that, we're going to be focusing on Brazil this year. We're only a small company with limited funds, so we can't do everything. With Botswana and in Brazil, we'll probably be focused really on the licenses in Minas Gerais, which will start in the Caldera region of Minas Gerais. And look, Minas Gerais is like WA. It's a great mining area. It's got great infrastructure, very low energy costs. It's a great place to do mining. There's 300 mining operations there. So it's a really mature mining place. We're very comfortable being there. That's going to be our focus this year. With Botswana, we'll probably assess the drilling results, see how they go, look at increasing our resource at Maybelly, and also possibly look at getting a joint venture partner to take over the spend on that, because obviously there's a couple of pretty big projects there that it's going to take a bit of money to develop, but we're pretty confident we can do that. And the gold project, we love the gold project, but it deserves a lot more love than what we can probably give it at the moment. So we're looking to do something strategic with that, either spin it out or enter into a JV with that, because that one is a great project, but it's just not going to get the due attention that it probably deserves off Si6 this year. So we want to make the most for our shareholders. So that's sort of the overall strategy there. Moving on from the proposition of the investment, we think we're in the right place. Brazil's terrific with lithium, rare earth, Minas Gerais, we're in the Caldera, we're located next to some really exciting companies that have had exciting discoveries in the right place. Botswana's a terrific place to do business, and of course WA, the goldfields, is as good a place to do any gold work as you could find in the world. This is our 2024 program. What I was getting to, we've got a $1 million exploration program for the calendar year in 2024, focusing initially on our Caldera rare earth clay absorption project, which actually started, we signed the deal on Friday and we had people on the ground on Saturday. One of the great, and we've already done some of the geochemistry work there, we've commenced that already. One of the good things about the joint venture agreement is that our joint venture partners, Foxfire Metals, have been in Brazil for 10 years. They've got a very experienced team, a number of good geologists and people with great relationships with the locals and also with the government, but also technically very sound, and they're our team. So we haven't had to go and find a new team over there. So that's the program there. Eventually we'll move up to the Lithium Valley and we'll work on our 5 licenses there, with geochem programs a priority over the lithium and rare earth areas. Up in the Lithium Valley, even though it's called the Lithium Valley, we're actually looking for lithium and rare earths up there. Botswana, we're going to assess the drill program across Maybelly North, Dobedi and Airstrip projects. We'll upgrade the Maybelly North resource and identify some projects. And Leonora, as I said, we're just going to try and spin that one out. That's where we are in Brazil. As you can see, the Caldera project there. We've got the Lithium Valley. They're going to be the focus of our attention for the next, certainly the next 12 months. That's our Caldera project. You can see the smaller of the 2 leases there. That's abutting the Meteoric project in the Caldera in Minas Gerais. as you can see there, there's sort of the couple of the other peers that we have there that have got much higher market cap than we have, and we just hope that we can replicate some of their success in that region. The Lithium Valley is up to the north, and you can see the Salinas project, which is Latin Resources, and also the project there for Sigma, which is a large company, and there's a list of peers there again, companies with much higher market caps than us. So trying to just replicate what some of these companies have done in the last couple of years. Botswana, as I said, there's our projects there. It's over towards the Zimbabwean side. Plenty of work to do there. A very good nickel project there, we think, and obviously some potential in the copper. I'll just very quickly go to the Monument Gold is located very close to some big gold projects there in the Laverton area. So 5 compelling reasons to invest in Si6. We think we've got the right assets. We're in the right location. We've got an aggressive exploration spend coming up. We've got a highly experienced in-country technical team at all our projects, and we've got a small market cap, so we think there's significant upside potential. So thank you very much, and I look forward to chatting to you guys at our booth. We're here all day tomorrow and this afternoon. Thank you.
Well done, Jim. You said thank you before. Don't expand. All right, now, it's probably just before Christmas this year, I was reading an article in Stockhead, and Guy Lepage, with his slightly acerbic on the rocks column, sorry Guy if you're listening, made comment about Turaco Gold. And one of the things that he said as far as recommendations for light reading over the Christmas period went, was the reports that Turaco Gold put out. And I thought, God, why did he say that? There was a method in his madness, and I'm sure you're going to talk more about the company-making deals that you did. Is that correct?
That's right, Chrissy.
All right, I won't give any more away. Would you please make welcome Justin Tremain, the MD of Turaco Gold, everyone.
Well, thank you. I think I've been presenting here now for 15 years across a couple of companies before, both of which turned into very successful, highly profitable gold mining operations. But I can assure you I've never been more excited to present today. With Turaco recently announcing the proposed acquisition of the Hammer Gold Project in Côte d'Ivoire, which I'll run through with you today quickly. I'll just quickly gloss over this. I'm sure you've heard from 100 companies today or the last couple of days that they all have good board and management teams. The key takeaway is that we have a track record, not once, but several times, taking companies like Turaco through exploration, discovery, feasibility, development into very successful, profitable gold mining operations and create a lot of shareholder value. Company's capped at about $70 million. We're well funded, $8 million in the bank, but I'm sure once again you would have heard that every company is well funded. So this week is actually one of the most celebrated weeks in Côte d'Ivoire since its independence from the French almost 65 years ago. Their national football team, the Elephants, were triumphant in the Cup of Nations football. So they beat every other African nation, and it's a famous victory for them. Here in Australia, we talk about the Ashes, the AFL Grand Final, the Melbourne Cup, but having been in Côte d'Ivoire for the last couple of weeks, I can assure you no sporting event in the world creates more passion than the Cup of Nations. And so this is a very important victory for Côte d'Ivoire. Making it even more special was Côte d'Ivoire was actually hosting it for the very first time. They defeated Nigeria in the final on Monday morning, which is quite symbolic because they're the two dominant powerhouse economies of West Africa. Côte d'Ivoire went through a period of instability about 20 years ago, 5 to 7 year period. And that's not surprising. It had come out of a 30-year stable period under a strong leadership, a president that led the country through independence. And then there was a jostle for power. And in the last 10 years, the country has been the most stable jurisdiction in West Africa. In fact, I'd say all of Africa, and has had tremendous economic growth of 6% per annum. And that's led it into being the second largest economy in the region, and without question, the most developed country in the region. I don't think there could be any arguments from anyone that Côte d'Ivoire is the destination of choice for investment in West Africa, and I'd argue for all of Africa. Importantly, the gold industry has played a very important part of that growth, and there's now, as we sit here today, 9 operating gold mines in the country. When I sit here next year, there'll be 10 or 11 operating gold mines. In 5 years' time, I'm very confident that number will be 15 to 20 years, and Turaco will be one of those companies. Our project that we're acquiring, we already had a very large position. In fact, Turaco is the largest exploration holder in Côte d'Ivoire. And you can see many of our projects in North Côte d'Ivoire. But what I want to focus on now, which will be the focus for Turaco moving forward, is the acquisition of this Athena Gold project in southeast Côte d'Ivoire, down the bottom of that map that you see there in red. You could not find a better located project in West Africa to develop a mine here. This project sits on a highway that runs from Abidjan, the capital, across to the border of Ghana and is the border crossing. Our project sits no more than 10 kilometres off that highway, and it's only about a 2-hour drive outside of Abidjan, which is the most developed capital in West Africa. Also, we have a hydropower. All of the electricity in Côte d'Ivoire is generated through hydropower. In fact, they export electricity to its neighbouring countries. And one of the main hydropower dams or schemes sits on the northwestern margin of our project area. So we have high voltage transmissions lines running all across our property, no issues with power and access, which are the most important two infrastructure ingredients in developing a gold mine. But it's the geology that is most exciting about this project. This project's never really sat in a public company before. It's always been in a private ownership. But it's always been a project that is of interest to the majors, and that's because it's where 3 of Ghana's world-class gold belts converge together across the border in southeast Côte d'Ivoire. I don't think you can find a better place on the planet of West Africa to find big, large-scale gold deposits, and where you have 3 proven world-class gold structures coming together, it is the ingredients for a major gold system here. But this is not potential that we're talking about. There's been over 250,000 metres of drilling undertaken on that red licence in the middle there, which is a granted mining permit, which comes with a mining convention attached to that, with a tax regime locked in place. And of that 200,000 metres, that's only drilled one structure, and there's historic N43 101 resources, which prove this, not potential, but proven to a multi-million ounce gold deposit that we've got here, and that will grow in much, much larger, as I'll show you. So as I said, it represents the extension of 3 belts. In yellow here, you can see 2 of those belts running through that red granted mining permit. The northern belt we call the Athena Shear, and that's where all of the historic 250,000 metres of drilling's been undertaken, and that's defined and delineated about 12 deposits, which I'll quickly run through. And then recently there was a new discovery made on a north-south structure running off that Athena Shear called the Wulu Wulu deposit, where there's been about 20,000 metres of diamond drilling, and that's a very significant deposit, as I'll show you. And then we've got another structure to the south we call the Nima Lesser shear zone, which represents another one of those Ghanaian belts extending into Côte d'Ivoire. This one has amazing soil geochemistry across it, a lot of artisanal mining activity, but not a single drill hole across it. And there's about 15 to 20 kilometres of strike sitting within our tenure there. So just touching this new discovery, which was made a few years ago and hasn't been followed up in the last couple of years just because the project's stuck in an ownership dispute. The Wulu Wulu discovery has been a lot of diamond drilling on there that's been drilled on 40 metre spacing, over 2.9 kilometres of strike that you can see in the long section here. And it's only been drilled from surface down to about 120 metres. What makes this such an attractive deposit is the width and consistency of mineralisation. So look at some of these intersections here, you know, plus 60 metres at over 1 grams per tonne, and over that 2.9 kilometres on 40 metre sections, I could reel off 100 intercepts like that. It's very consistent from section to section. So bulk mining of this mineralisation from surface with a very, very low strip ratio. And we'll be looking to extend that down to about 200 metres and come out with a maiden JORC resource for Wulu Wulu within the first 6 months of ownership of this project. And in parallel to that, we'll also come out with a maiden JORC resource of this historic drilling that's been undertaken along the Athena Shear, as I said, over 200,000 metres of drilling. And that drilling is focused across a series of deposits. Many of those deposits will join up with more drilling. It's about 20 kilometres of strike of this shear. But the 2 main deposits, which I'll quickly touch on, Jonction in the north and Anuri, to show you the grade and the potential of this system we're on here. You know, the Jonction deposit there, what you see in purple is a 5 gram ore shoot, and they're not typos, 40 metres at 7 grams, 24 metres at 10 grams, 14 metres at 10 grams, and so forth. It's super high grade, well over 700,000 ounces already drilled out there. The Anuri deposit there, similar amount, 600,000 to 700,000 ounces already drilled out there, And once again, many plus 100 gram metre intersections there. Over a strike length of about 500 metres, it's only been drilled down to 300 metres, but the drilling's been done. There's been over $60 million spent on this project to date. And then the Nima Lesser Shear, another structure. In fact, this looks better to the south, but it's had no drilling here. You can see some orpaillage or artisanal mining activity there. And you can see it's got anomalous gold in soils along the whole strike of 20 kilometres there. This Afanu target to the south, just off the mining licence within the exploration tenure, there's trenching there of 10 to 20 metres at 2 grams per tonne. In fact, channel sampling across an artisanal pit, returned over 35 metres at over 4 grams per tonne. This has not been drilled, not a single hole put into it, and this sits about 7 kilometres away from those previous resources that have already been drilled, which I just mentioned. So unbelievable exploration within a 5 to 10 kilometre radius, but then stepping out further, wrapping around a big intrusion. As these belts wrap around that intrusion, we have very anomalous gold in soils around the contact of that intrusion. These are plus 100, 200 ppb soil anomalies over several kilometres that have not been drilled. We can see this evolving into a serious mining camp that rivals many of the other very large world-class deposits in West Africa over the short term. We will be coming out with a JORC resource within 6 months of ownership. We expect to settle the acquisition within the next couple of weeks. We'll quickly move into pre-feasibility study, but we will not lose sight of growing this into a world-class gold deposit. Thank you, Chrissy.
Whoa, well done. Well done, Mr. Tremain.
And this chocolate would have actually most likely come from Côte d'Ivoire as the world's largest cocoa exporter.
Possibly, that's correct. That's it. There's a chocolate factory down south, and they do single origin chocolates. You know how you go to the different wineries, etc., and they do chocolates the same way. So if you're into chocolates, check them out. All right. Now, this could be an interesting conversation we're about to have. You've had a very interesting year. You've been up, you've been down. There's lots of energy. We're going to talk about TG Metals, aren't we? It is one of the most energetic stories of the last 12 months. And this fellow is David Selfe. He is the CEO. Let us make him very welcome.
Thank you, Chrissy, and thanks to Vertical Events for putting on such a great conference every year that allows explorers to shine. I'm here to talk about TG Metals and Lake Johnson project, which is in an emerging high-grade lithium province. If you get one discovery, then it's just one discovery, but if you get more, then you're looking at a province. And I think that's what we've got here. There we go. Now the green lights come on. Usual disclaimer and a bit more forward-looking statements. Okay, just a short corporate overview. So following our $10 million capital raising in December, we still have most of that in the bank now, and but we only have a market cap now of 16 million. So our enterprise value is very low compared to our peers, and I think that's something that we should be looking at with all investors going forward. We've got more to discover and more great results. It's coming soon, and our enterprise value is just low compared to our peers. We have a great board that is supportive of our strategy. And of course we've been delivering on that with our recent discoveries, but they're still continuing to support us in our strategy going forward and instrumental in getting our $10 million capital raising away in December. And that was the first capital raising we've had since IPO as well, which happened in May of 2022. So just going on the where we are at, if for those of you who don't know where we are, I've probably never spoken to Jackson or Stewie if that's the case. We're in the Lake Johnson Greenstone Belt. Surrounding us are 4 operating lithium mines. The biggest of those is Earl Grey, which is still in the commissioning phase right now. We're only 200 kilometres away from the Esperance port, and we have the dominant land holding in the Lake Johnson Greenstone Belt, and we're growing that with some applications that we put forward as strategic early on before our Burmeister discovery, and they're getting granted, so we're getting more and more ground to explore as well. And and we were in there before some of the big movers came in behind us. We're making lithium discoveries. I mean, obviously, the first one of those was happened in as early as October last year, but now we're learning from that, and we're cracking on with our new areas. The whole region is underexplored for lithium, and we aim to increase that exploration data. Okay, so zooming in further on the Lake Johnson project. So we've got 50-kilometre strike length of Greenstone Belt, and the whole lot of it is prospective for LCT pegmatites. If most people have heard of the Goldilocks zone, well, the Goldilocks zone basically in early studies was covering all of our tenement, all of our tenure. Our significant Burmeister lithium discovery in October basically set the whole of a frenzy of activity in the Lake Johnson area. Rio Tinto has recently come in, joint venturing with Jarra on their ground, and also pegging some tenements as well. And one of those is out near our recently granted Taylor Rocks tenement. It's out to the east. We originally pegged that because there is some greenstone raft in granite out there. We don't know much about what's on the ground there at the moment. The tenement was only granted the last few weeks, so we'll be getting out there very shortly to see if there's any outcropping pegmatite there, which is not what we've seen in Burmeister. Burmeister was completely undercover, no outcrop to go off. We've delivered high-grade lithium results from our Burmeister discovery, basically from day one of our drilling on there. That was found through a soil anomaly. As I said, there was no outcropping pegmatite, so we had a very short program in there and came up with a high-grade discovery. And we also have our new Jägermeister prospect, which is out to the immediate east of Burmeister. It's a large soil anomaly, much larger in fact than Burmeister, and we'll be drill testing that very shortly. We've got a heritage survey to be conducted starting next week up there, which will allow us to go and do our first drilling. We also have further to the south, we've got a large tenement holding down there, which is 25 kilometres away from Burmeister, which is the Tay prospect. That's almost been devoid of lithium exploration entirely in its history of exploration. It's been a gold and nickel prospect for most of its life, and we've been doing some research on the historical drilling down there that was for gold and for nickel, and we believe some of it may contain pegmatites. In short, though, we're located between two prolific lithium-bearing greenstone belts, and there's no reason why the Lake Johnson greenstone belt can't be the same. So moving on with our Burmeister discovery. So it's just a picture there of one of our first holes, showing the spodumene lighting up in the drill chips. And this is a drone shot looking south. Burmeister nickel laterite. So we started out life as a nickel exploration focused company. We did define some nickel laterite. The market didn't particularly take well to that, so we moved on to nickel sulfide, and then the tail end of that was our lithium drilling, and now we're a lithium focused company. So on a Burmeister discovery, there's just a short snapshot there of some of our better intercepts that we've got so far. What we're seeing is a stacked pegmatite system. We've tested so far 1,400 metres of strike length, and it's still open to the north and to the south, to the west, to the east. We've got a lot more drilling to do there. We've got intercepts ranging reported at the moment from 9 metres thick to up to 19 metres. All of it's high grade, and there's unusually for pegmatites, there's mineralisation throughout the entire width of the pegmatites. We don't have any internal waste, at least none that we have drilled so far. We're getting through at the moment with approvals to set ourselves up for future resource drill out on Burmeister. So we've currently got a 200 metre spacing by 100 metre. We want to close that up to 100 by 100 and then even closer, and testing and concentrating on our up dip, shallow intercepts. We're confident that we'll get high grade all the way through. That should lead us towards a resource sometime later on in the year or early next year. As I said, we do have a lot of drilling to do. So this one, Burmeister pegmatite. So this is one of our thicker intercepts. It's a shallow weathering profile, but that's knocked out all of the outcrop that's available. Flat dipping, it's going to be favourable for mining in the future. Seeing the pegmatite thickening towards the north, and that's certainly something we're concentrating on with our new phases of drilling. And as I said, spodumene occurs throughout the pegmatites, and it's all high grade. Done a bit of work on the mineralogy, and we found that spodumene is not only the dominant lithium mineral, but it's the dominant mineral in the pegmatite. So it's basically spodumene, quartz, and feldspar. The simple mineralogy, we're hoping will translate into simple low-cost metallurgy, and we're going to start some metallurgical test work soon once we get the assays back for our recent core drilling. On the Jägermeister prospect, as I said, large lithium in soil anomaly, 100 ppm. It's 5 kilometres long. It's open in the north and south. We've done some infill just recently, waiting for assays back on that. We're going to put our first drill holes in that in March, and approvals are well advanced. And emerging prospects, Taylor Rocks, as I mentioned before, the Tay prospect as well, and other strategic applications that we've had to the north. And just going on in key investment drivers, we've got a strong balance sheet, $10 million. We can do whatever, all of what we're planning to do. We've got a great team of geologists and management, and we've got, we're going to execute our plans in 2024. Thank you all.
Yes or no? Yes or no? You can't bloody speak. Hold on there. You take it then. Here we go. Well done. Congratulations. Good speak, but you missed out by 2 seconds.
No
all
worries.
right. Things are happening all over the place as we speak at this conference, and there was some news out of Queensland. I'll read it out to you. 2 prime movers and shakers in northwest Queensland copper gold exploration, Hammer Metals and Carnaby Resources, are in merger talks. Hammer broke the news in the ASX this morning, cautioning the discussions are at a relatively early stage. There is no certainty that a transaction between the companies will eventuate. Daniel Thomas, if you can, enlighten us, or at least tell us why, and I like the first statement, prime mover and shaker in the gold and copper world. Over to you. Would you please make Daniel very welcome, everyone?
Thanks, Chrissy. You're certainly on the pulse there. I was kind of hoping I could get through 10 minutes and not mention the obvious, but as you said, very early stage discussions, and nothing is certain out of them. I'll focus on the Mount Isa region and the opportunities that are presented there. I think the opportunities in Mount Isa are immense, and I think our cover slide here is rather fitting. It is a picture of sunrise at Kelman, and I think it really is sunrise of the Mount Isa region as we head into a world of copper shortage and good copper investment opportunities, and I'd like to talk to you about what I think is one of the better ones at the moment. I'll let you read the statement at your leisure. In terms of the company, you can read all of these points. There are 3 ways that we're going to deliver returns for our shareholders, and each of them I think has a great chance of providing the returns investors are looking for. Number 1, our existing resource base, some 530,000 tonnes of copper equivalent metal in a resource already. I think we're incredibly undervalued from the perspective of copper dollars per pound of copper in our resource base relative to our peers. That's opportunity number 1. Opportunity number 2 is investing in a company that has a great path to exploration success. So you've got to have the right team and the right projects, and we've amassed some 3,000 square kilometres of tenure in the Mount Isa region. We have a team that is responsible for world-class mineral discoveries historically, and have made recent mineral discoveries in the Mount Isa region. So in terms of exploration success, there's another opportunity for value. And the third, have a look, I guess, at the recent history in the Mount Isa region of potential consolidation opportunities, and obviously the one that Chrissy alluded to there presents one of those opportunities in the region. In Mount Isa in the last 18 months, we've seen 7 transactions with a minimum deal size of $30 million. This is a region that's moving forward with great opportunity. If you're looking for copper opportunities, I would look no further than our own backyard in Mount Isa. In terms of the company, current position, market capitalisation of $43 million. Our cash position there of $1.8 million doesn't include the R&D tax refund that we expect early next month. Last year that was $1.1 million, and we also have some funds that are due for some JV drilling that we did in December. You can see we're in a very similar position at this conference last year in terms of our share price. We experienced an incredible run through April and May on the back of some really good news. And I'll talk to you about our 12 months. I think it's been an exceptional 12 months. I don't think anyone here would argue with this overall sentiment in the sector for the last 12 months, but I present to you what we have achieved during that 12-month period. We increased our JORC resource at Kelman by 40%. So we now have over 40 million tonnes there, 39.9 million tonnes at 1.1% copper equivalent. We found 3 new deposits in the Mount Isa region, each of them delivering 50-metre intersections of greater than 1% copper. It's pretty rare to find one of these, let alone 3 in a year. So I'll talk a little bit about them and our plans for 2024. In terms of Mount Isa and where we are, we're located midway between Mount Isa and Cloncurry, Tier 1 deposits in every which direction. We're exploring 2 large fault structures there that we think are highly prospective and underexplored. A number of these systems that we've been unearthing these drill hits on have never been drilled previously, and there's many, many more of them, particularly within our tenure and our surrounding tenure. In terms of the overall region and the discussions that Chrissy alluded to, our portfolio with that 530,000 tonnes of copper, neighbours next to us have circa 300,000 tonnes of copper equivalent metal. You're building the base load of mineralisation that can support mines for 10 to 20 plus years at production volumes that are significant. This is the opportunity that exists in this region with additional exploration and obviously additional success. In terms of Kelman, if you've heard me speak here before, you've heard me talk about this asset. Last year, this increased 39 million tonnes. It's a copper, gold, molybdenum, rhenium deposit. The open pit material now encompasses 71% of the mineral resource. That 27.7 million tonnes and a copper equivalent recovered grade at 0.9% is very similar in size, grade, strip ratio as a T3 project was in Botswana when it was acquired by Samphire Resources. I know those numbers particularly well because I worked for Samphire when they acquired that project. Sure, it certainly was discovered, it was taken through a feasibility study at the time of the purchase, and Kelman is still pre-scoping study, but this size of deposit, the grades, the strip ratio lend to the economics, and being located in a Tier 1 mining jurisdiction with established infrastructure has some advantages. It's funny, people say to me, look, you're struggling for traction with your copper molybdenum project. Why don't you think about a uranium project? Not many people appreciate the price of molybdenum and what molybdenum has done over the past 3.5 years. There has been a significant price increase in molybdenum. You can see the blue line there showing the price of moly relative to uranium. Molybdenum is going to be a new age mineral. It's going to be used in stainless steel in all the applications that we see for turbines, be it wind, nuclear, gas. It'll have a source in electric vehicles and for the support panels of solar panels. It is going to be required moving forward, and the overall thematics around supply and demand are very similar to copper. In fact, most molybdenum is mined from copper deposits, from the porphyry deposits of South America. So we see a very strong future for molybdenum. The Kelman project represents probably a top 5 project in terms of grade for an undeveloped project in the world. Molybdenum has just been added to Australia's critical minerals list. So I think a project such as this would attract some attention from the government agencies when they look to opportunities within Australia for the development of this critical mineral. Our priorities this year are to follow up on last year's hits at Hardway, the South Hope region. We have world-class joint venture partners in Sumitomo Metal Mining and Glencore. We're looking to advance our activities there, as well as looking for our own large-scale IOCG systems. We believe this region's capable of delivering more Tier 1 copper gold deposits, and that is our attention from an exploration perspective, whilst also pursuing those exceptional drill hits that we had from last year. In terms of Hardway, Hardway is a kilometre-long strike. We've now drilled 20 holes at this particular prospect. We're looking at anywhere from 15 to 30 metres wide, up to 50 metres wide in parts at grades between 0.7 and 1% copper. There's some really interesting rare earth grades here, but it isn't a focus for us. We are focused on the copper potential. But I think where we see large IOCG systems, we also see an abundance of rare earth mineralisation, some interesting grades of cobalt and manganese, and Hardway has all of these aspects to them. We're drilling a couple of deeper holes here, looking for a sulphide source at depth, and I think this will be one of the early stage targets for this year. You can see the extent of surface copper anomalism there. It's quite substantive over a large period. In terms of other targets, Bullrush is another target we'll be testing in 2024. Large-scale IOCG system out in the granite unit there. Again, cutting-edge frontier exploration for these large systems with no exploration or no drilling in these areas historically. In terms of our project down at South Hope, you can see sits very complementary to the Carnaby resources, Mount Hope prospects there, where a mineral resource was established late last year. Again, the exploration potential in and around that boundary is strong and presents great opportunity for us moving forward. Last but not least, and I talked about this in a cricket term, this is really a free hit for us. This is our secondary project here in WA, and whilst we may be a little bit late on the lithium perspective, we have a great target sitting on the opposite side of the Liontown deposit at Kathleen Valley. In terms of the particular project here, we're just about to start drilling. In fact, Clay from Strike told me that the drill rig's turning up tonight, so I expect the drill rigs to be turning by the end of the week, and we'll be testing underneath some pegmatites and lithium geochemistry anomalism that looks super exciting on the edge of the granite. Not only that, will we be drilling the lithium potential here in the exact same positions, albeit on a slightly different orientation. We have gold mineralisation here. So you've seen many deposits through Western Australia where we've seen gold and lithium mineralisation together. Some of the historical hits we've had here at 8 metres at 4, 4 metres at 6, offer some great upside potential. I'll point your attention to hole 28, which is located roughly halfway down there. There's some 200 metres of spacing in between that to the line to the north. That particular hole, 4 metres at 6 grams per tonne, we'll follow that up with that drilling. Very busy program coming up here at Mount Isa, drilling with our JV partner, lots of news flow to look forward to, and of course we'll see where those discussions get to. Thanks very much.
Well done. That's a good treat for the end of a big day. Well done. Great presentation. Thank you so much. All right, team, we're going to Quebec, over to Canada for our next presentation. So an interesting opportunity for you. Cygnus Metals, they're actually the 4th ASX listed company to produce a JORC-compliant resource in that jam-packed little region. This fellow here is David Southam. He's the Managing Director, and he is going to enlighten us as to what's happening over there. Would you please make him welcome?
Thank you, Chrissy. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, I'm going to seek forgiveness rather than permission, and pinch an extra minute. And the reasons will be a very grand, and it's a little bit somber, but it's also a bit of a reminder of why we're here and what we do. Because we've heard a lot about ground and especially people over the last 2 days. This is really a shout out to RIU, and for those who would have seen the Craig Oliver Award, and everyone I'm sure knows the story behind that on the 19th of June 2010, the Sundance plane went down. I actually lost my chairman in that plane crash and lost a few friends, and so I had the privilege of trying to help out Sundance post that plane crash. So it's really a shout out to RIU to continue that. They haven't forgotten people in the Oliver family, and also encourage continue their sponsorship, and also IGO, who did take over Western Areas, who really did push that Craig Oliver Award. So just a little gentle reminder there. So have I got my minute back? Okay, very good. So look, I'm not going to go over lithium price. We've heard about that. We know what it's done to equities, but we know that we've seen this before. And I've heard it mentioned a few times today, the Mount Holland deposit, where I was lucky enough to be a director of Kidman Resources, where we sold that to Wesfarmers. And that was really at the top of the market. And then we saw a nuclear winter in lithium for a number of years. I think the supply and demand dynamic is completely different to then. And I think if there's ever a time to be looking at lithium stocks, and I'm not talking my own bulk here, I'm talking about a lot of lithium stocks, and especially in Quebec, now is a time to look into it. The image you see there is quite relevant to some of the promises that we made last year. And so really what I want to do is focus on the strategy. And of course, you should always do your own school report when you're coming back a year later. And when you do your own school report, you tend to get A's for everything you do, so excuse that. But we did promise that we would come out with a maiden resource, which we did, of 10 million tonnes, only on 11,000 metres of drilling at a minute drilling cost per tonne of lithium found. And so there's still more work to be done there because we've only really been there a year. We've grown the team. We have a chairman now in country. We have in-country managers, and we're currently drilling there with our team as we speak. We also acquired a number of projects. We are now the largest ASX-listed landholder in James Bay. Now, large doesn't necessarily mean better, but what I will do is show you why that's important for us. We've also made multiple discoveries, and this is a little bit of a bugbear of mine in the lithium space because it has been very active in James Bay. We've been there for 18 months, and there's been a rush of companies grabbing ground in James Bay and Ontario and other places within Canada. And so when we make announcements about spodumene in pegmatites. Whilst announcing a pegmatite is interesting, 99.5% of pegmatites aren't mineralised. And so whilst it can be a pointer, you should always look out for spodumene bearing pegmatites. Otherwise, Cygnus will be releasing an announcement every day for the next 365 days. And the last thing you want to hear is a Kiwi banging on about pegmatites. And finally, we have and on those acquisitions, we have made some discoveries. We've hit some intersections of some very high-grade lithium. We've found a couple of outcrops that are high-grade lithium bearing, which we are drilling at the moment, and we've completed around 18,000 metres of drilling. And that's a shout out to my team. My team go out there and minus 35 degrees to manage the drill program in Quebec. In summer, you can basically be flown away by the flies. So it is interesting conditions, but winter is actually the best time to drill. So where we're located, as I said, we are the largest on the ASX in terms of land holding, around 3 projects, Pontax, Eau Claire and Sakami. What's important, we're right next to infrastructure, we're right next to roads, hydropower, and we're also near large deposits. And these large companies such as Arcadium, which is the merger of Allchem and Livent, they don't have exploration portfolios within Quebec. None of the large players do. And it's something which is missing in all of their portfolios. And we happen to be next to Arcadium's 2 projects, which is James Bay, which is the largest lithium resource in James Bay. It beat Corvette by 1 million tonnes a couple of days later after Corvette came out with theirs. So I'm sure a geologist had a little bit of fun there. And also next to the Nemaska lithium project, which they own 50% of. And we also have ground at Sakami, which I will talk about. So Pontax, you can see the greenstone belt that we're on. We only focus on greenstone belts. It is 30 k's as the crow flies to the largest deposit in James Bay. We've defined a resource. We've got 44 kilometres of strike, and we've really only tested a couple. So there's definitely more to be found there, but bear in mind we've only been there 1 year drilling, and we already have a resource. The second, which is probably gaining a little bit of attention from some of our shareholders and prospective shareholders and strategics, is our land holding at Eau Claire. This has never been looked at for lithium, and in the months that we've been there, we found a significant outcrop undercover, which the geologist found through about a 20 centimetre gap, and it was sitting undercover. You would have never known you're walking on top of it. we've had drill intersections where we've followed it, but what we've done is the hard scientific work. We've done things such as sampling all the pegmatites that are in the region to measure fractionation. We've flown LiDAR. We're waiting on results from soil samples. So you can just, till samples. So you can see that we've done the hard work. It's not necessarily sexy, but it's how you then able to pinpoint when you've got 400 square kilometres of where you want to explore. And with 2 days left in our season, we are able to discover the Pegasus outcrop, which you can see here is quite significant. And you look at those grab sample grades there, they are significant. We only got 2 days in there, and we know from the fractionation results, that's where we should be looking. We've got a drill rig working there at the moment, and so there will be news flow, but you can see the size. You're looking at over 100 metres of strike on an outcrop. And so we will see what Mother Earth provides us, if I'm allowed to say mother. Sakami, that is on the same greenstone belt as Patriot. So you do get a lot of neurology in this region. I think there's another Patriot company, and there's a Corvette South and Corvette North, East and West that aren't on the same greenstone belt. We're at 44 kilometres away. You might have heard that last year in Quebec there were significant fires, and so that stopped us getting out to be able to do all the prospecting that we would like, and then the snow came in early. So we have completed some prospecting there. There are multiple pegmatites, but as I said, having pegmatites, that's only a small piece of the puzzle. It's whether it's spodumene bearing. And so we're doing that fractionation results, and in summer we will get out there again. And then finally, we've heard a little bit about rare earths, and this is something in Western Australia which I think is flying completely beneath the radar. If you have a look at some of our intersections here, which are basically right near surface, and you can see the section at the bottom of the image there, and we're hitting 79 metres at over 1600 ppm, which includes 8 metres at over 7,000. Also, intersections of 25 metres at 2,745. I have 1 minute 19 to go, Chrissy. So I can see you in the corner of my eye in your red outfit. So, we now have got 22 kilometres of strike. Now, I am not allowed as a CEO to talk about, well, what does that mean in terms of scale? But not being a geologist and getting into trouble with the JORC police who put people in jail, you can do the maths yourself, which would result in hundreds of millions of tonnes. What's really important for us now is we're doing the met work. You would have seen a chap floating around here today with a big Ansto brand. It's the same metallurgical test work that Meteoric have done. And we will see what that test work tells us. We know that this ground has never been looked at for ionic clays. This is sitting like 4 metres from surface. It's a free dig. And our EV at the moment is sitting around $15 million, and what you get for that is a 10 million tonne lithium resource, lithium intersections, and a major potential rare earth discovery. On that note, I will say thank you.
That was very impressive.
Thank you very
And the boys, you deserve that. It's a good tribute to them. Well done to you, sir. All right. Now, last year at this time, Dynamic was a newly minted little company. They were less than 3 weeks old. Their members were wandering around outside in the masses and amongst the 1,500 delegates. This year, they have got a booth, they've got peoples, they've got passion, they've got excitement, and they've got a story to tell us. So this is Karen Wellman. She is their, are you the head geologist?
Managing director.
The managing director and everything. This is the person in charge that is making it all happen. So please make her welcome as she shares the Dynamic story with us.
Thank you, Chrissy. Right, so thank you all for staying. I've got a bit of a treat for you guys today. So if you want to take out your phones and scan that QR code down there, you'll get a subscription to our newsletter and get updated with our exploration activities this year. So if you want to do that, for me, that'd be great. As Chrissy said, Dynamic has been around for a year now, so we're pretty new on the in the market, but you know, we've sort of been growing and developing over the last year, and so I'm very excited to present this story for you. So investment highlights. Why invest in Dynamic? I mean, we have a portfolio, an exceptional portfolio of critical minerals projects located here in Western Australia. Where else would you want to be? We've exposed to multiple commodities, so we've got lithium, gold, copper, nickel, PGEs that we're looking for. The team has been working together for several years. We were spun out of a company called Greenstone Resources. So we've been working this up for quite a long time. So we're quite heavily invested personally in seeing the successful results that we've got. We hit the ground running last year, like we said we would. We drilled over 11,000 metres and we had some quite good results during that, which we'll touch on. And most of all, importantly, the company we believe is quite leveraged to success with Dynamic Metals, as I'll go into here. We've only got 49 million shares on issue. Our share price as of yesterday was sitting about 17 cents. We listed at 20 cents last year. Gives us a market cap of about 8.6 million. We've got 3.1 million left in the bank at the moment, so our EV is sitting at about 5.5 million. So you can start to see what I'm talking about as leverage success. One of the key points, if you're looking at the share price chart, as I said, we started at 20, we're sitting here. We've maintained sort of momentum throughout the course of a year, which has been quite challenging in capital markets. And I think one of the reasons for this success is that we have a very supportive group of investors. The share registry is fairly tight. You'll see in the top 20 there, the ownership has gone from 50% to about 65% because they believe in the story, they believe in the management, and they believe in our projects. So I think that speaks volumes for itself. So I'll just, this is a map of our projects here in Western Australia. As I said, we've got quite a large portfolio in some very good regions of Western Australia. I'll just touch on the two ones which we're going to directly work on in the immediate future, which are the Widgiemooltha project and the Deep Well project. But you can see there in the map these lighter coloured dots around. This is what we refer to as our generative portfolio, as well as the Lindsay's and Leinster projects. They're all part of our generative, and there'll be a lot more news flow coming out on those as we go through the year. So the Widgiemooltha project is a bit of an overview. The Widgiemooltha is located about an hour south of Kalgoorlie. We hold a large land position in Kalgoorlie. It's easily accessible. We've got roads and highways running through the project. It's a prospective for gold, lithium, nickel. We have 100% of the mineral rights, which is very important too. We've not sold anything as we go along, so we have the rights to explore everything at this point in time. And from this area, there's been a lot of historic activity. So particularly on the gold and nickel side of things, we had a lot of data to go with. So we were able to generate those drill-ready targets. On the lithium side of things, as I talk about that, the lithium story at Widgiemooltha is a lot more early stage. So it's really started emerging as a rich belt. And you'll see here from the map that our tenements, so that darker blue and orange colour, that's Dynamics Holdings at Widgiemooltha. Just for a bit of reference, the lighter coloured material is the Cali Metals Holdings, which people are probably quite familiar with from their recent listing, and they've been quite successful post-listing. So you can see we're in the right neighbourhood to make a discovery. Other discoveries, we've got Widgie Nickel discovered the Faraday spodumene deposit that sits just up in here too. So you can see like we've got a lot going on in some pretty good areas. Develop Group took over Essential Metals, which covers this background here. We've got the western side of the Pioneer Dome. So last year, our goal with the lithium exploration, as I said, it's very early stage. There's no drill data and things to go with, so we've had to start from the beginning. So our first pass has been to do systematic soil sampling across our portfolio. And from that, we've had quite a few highlights. Down at the Pioneer Dome, we identified a 2.8 kilometre anomaly to follow up on. We did some further auger work there. Up here at Frank's far southeast, we identified two more soil anomalies over 100 ppm lithium oxide. They're both greater than a kilometre in strike, so we need to get back out there for some follow-up. And then up here at Spargo's East, it's probably one of the most interesting ones we've had so far, up to 409 ppm lithium in our lithium oxide in our soils. And that area we know that there's spodumene-bearing pegmatites, very important, David, in the area. So we're very much in the right neighbourhood, and we look forward to advancing that further. And that's a map of the Spargos East area, so you can see how that's lighting up in that northern part there. So those drill lines are about 400 metres apart, so we'll go back and do some further refine the area for targeting, and located quite close to the Mount Marion operations, as you can see there. Touching on the gold at Widgie-Mooltha. So gold prospectors have been exploring here since 1890s. Our tenements sit close to St Ives Gold Camp. You've got Mandilla Project with Astral and the Higginsville Camp. So there's been multiple million-ounce deposits of gold in the area. We did a little bit of gold exploration last year. I can see all these orange-coloured dots, labels up here are all our gold targets to be followed up on. We drilled at Higginsville last year, just the first pass air core program, and got a metre at 5.6 at the bottom of hole. And at Mandilla, we got a metre at 3.1 in the bottom of hole. Both of those are yet to be followed up, and we'll be getting onto them quite early this year. The second project that I want to talk about is the Deep Well project. So Deep Well is prospective for nickel, copper and PGEs. And why this one's quite exciting is that there's 6 kilometres of these outcropping gossans at surface. And so far there hasn't been any drilling underneath those gossans. So we've been, we're working with the Native Title Group, and we'll be doing a heritage survey in the next month or two, and we look forward to doing our first pass exploration project out there. But this is the one that really gets my attention because, you know, we don't know what we're going to find in the ground there, so we're quite excited as a geologist to see what lies beneath the surface. And this gives you a bit of an idea of what the exploration program looks like over the next 12 months. As I mentioned, we've got 3 million left in the bank, which keeps us going in terms of the infill soil sampling work that we're going to do both around Widgie-Mooltha at Spargos and Franks Find, as well as working on our Lake Percy project. We'll also get stuck into some drilling at Higginsville, Mandilla, and then moving on towards Deep Well and a few more of those other areas around Widgie-Mooltha. You can see the program is very much targeted towards lithium and gold exploration, plus the nickel, copper, PGEs up at Lake Percy. So why invest in Dynamic? You know, I believe our portfolio is quite exceptional. People never quite understand the size of the Widgie-Mooltha project in particular because of its great location. As I mentioned, we've got a quality team. The team has a track record of delivering and being successful, and people follow that. And that's why we've got such a strong shareholder registry. We've got a very active program in front of us. Our motto right now, even with the market uncertainty, is just keep calm and carry on. You know, the proof is in the pudding, and we'll get that when we keep going with our exploration work. And as I mentioned, it's an attractive valuation, highly leveraged to success with the tight share registry. We are in the right place and the right location and the right time, and we've got the cash to get some results. So as I said, we're in the right position to discover with Dynamic. Come see us at booth 10 if you would like some more information and talk through the projects in a bit more detail. Thank you.
Well done, Karen Wellman. Well done. One chocolate for you. That was absolutely fantastic maiden exposure there on the. Geez, that doesn't sound right, does it? That was a great first show. Well done. Thanks, Karen. I hope you get a lot of people out there at booth 10. All right, Kaz de Luca. Right, we're saving some of the best for last 2 days, so lucky we have a nice discerning audience here in the room. So Kaz's passion is exploration. She's a geologist with a number of years of experience. She is leading Novo, and what she's doing in 2024, I believe, is taking them back out into the field. She's heading for that next big gold discovery. So Kaz, let us know where you're looking. Where are you looking? Where are you going to find it? Would you please make Kaz very welcome, everyone?
Thanks, Chrissy. So, yeah, I agree with Karen. Thanks very much for hanging on to the bitter end today. And I've got a really interesting story to talk to you about, so I'm glad you did. We are going to talk mostly today about our projects in the Pilbara. We've got a large land holding there, and you can see here the landscape in the banner is pretty much what we're used to on a day-to-day basis. We do have some projects in Victoria, which get a mention today, but there's a conference next week in Melbourne, where a lot more detail, Chris will go into a lot more detail on the Victorian projects if you're interested. One of the things I would like to say is that, 10 minutes you can't actually get much across. I've simplified a lot of the aspects of the geology and the projects down for you, but please visit our website. And if you want to spend more time on the cautionary statement, it's there for your enjoyment as well. First of all, I'd like to tell you that Novo actually operate across 9 different traditional owner groups in the Pilbara, and one also in Victoria, the Jarra. We have really good relationships with most of these groups, and we'd like to pay our respects to all members of the Indigenous communities we work with, and to elders past, present and emerging. Okay, I kind of did the summary first, just in case I got shooed off the podium from Chrissy. We had a pretty turbulent year last year. We did some deals. They all culminated pretty much in the week before Christmas, so that was pretty interesting. But we're really starting the year now with a great story from my perspective, and hopefully you'll understand. We have a clear target. We are looking for gold. We want to deliver plus million ounce development potential resources. That's our focus. We have a strong group that are actually working, and we've all really been with Novo for 5 years, so everyone is very clued up on the geology in the Pilbara projects. We've still got 7,500 square k's of Pilbara exploration tenure that we're working on, and we've managed to do various deals to farm out things like our lithium projects to major groups like SQM and Leotam, which has injected nearly $12 million into our pockets in the last year, and also a great joint venture deal on the Egina joint venture with De Grey Mining on 1,000 square kilometres of ground just south of Hemi and the Hemi resource. I hope you all saw Phil's presentation yesterday, because he talked to the Egina camp quite a bit. And, you'll see that when you look at the maps, we've got very similar geology and high prospectivity all throughout our Egina joint venture. Lastly, we are, it sounds like Groundhog Day, but we are really well funded. We've got 21 million in cash in the bank as of the end of January, and we've got $30 million in investments that we can call on as the year goes by. This is just really a notice to show you the land holding. You can see up here in the pinks and purples that they're our lithium joint ventures. They're all managed by our joint venture partners. What I'm going to focus on is the Egina Gold Camp, this area through here. In the north is the Egina joint venture, and in the south is a joint venture with Mark Creasy and the Creasy Group. And also Nunyerry North is our first prospect that we've really focused on in that southern belt. Just quickly, this is really just the take-home message is no debt. We've got great investment portfolio there. Our shareholding has improved demonstrably in the last year. And I guess, as I say, cash in the bank of 21 million to spend on exploration. Honing straight into the Egina Gold Camp, we did a great deal with De Grey. They are going to invest up to $25 million on exploration at Besha and the surrounding tenure. These sort of, backwards. Can I go backwards? Yes. These areas through here will be consolidated during the year, I'm sure, giving them that northern portion of the ground adjacent to all of their Hemi project area. They now have a significant area in the Malone Basin, which is the host for all the Hemi and similar deposits, structural deposits as well, like Withnell. And, the corridor is really significant. It runs east-west for sure, but it also runs down here through the Egina Gold Camp, and you can see we've got various prospects that we're going to be working on during the year. There's over 10,500 meters of various drilling, mostly aircore, some RC, Scout RC, that degraded across the last quarter of 2023. And they've got a larger program that they're going to continue with this year. Just briefly, the results that we have so far from the RC drilling, we've hit a really interesting new style of mineralisation here on the Heckmeyer intrusion. Just explaining this map a little bit, anything that has a cross on it is intrusive, whether it be diorite, sanucatoid or ultramafic. We come across a main anomaly in here from the air core that only 2 scout holes have been put into, and we've got a really significant, kind of unexplained at the moment, but base metals, silver up to 60 grams, a sniff of gold in there as well, but really significant numbers that both ourselves and De Grey are keen to track across this kilometre trend. And both holes sit underneath each other, and those results look pretty significant to me. In addition, there's numbers from the first drilling at Low, which are shown here. So again, just 4 holes, quite shallow, and the best results are 8 metres at nearly 5 grams. So again, quite successful for just two deeper RC Scout holes. Moving to the south, which is basically the ground that we manage, you'll see that Nunyerry North, right in the south here, is our main prospect. This is a greenstone belt. This is 60 kilometres of fertile structural trend right across the belt, with Hemi in the north and Nunyerry in the south. And this is one of the main areas where our focus will be during the year. We've done a lot of work now to understand the geometries and the geology at Nunyerry North, and I just want the takeaway home message here is our proof of concept, if you like. Drilling was done just in this very small portion, and we've got a lot more work on various targets, whether they be structural, intrusive, or actually chasing the type stratigraphy that we know is the target horizon. We did put an announcement out about this yesterday. Just a mention of Victoria, and unfortunately I'm not going to talk to you much about it now because I'm running out of time already. So, two slides to go. This is how we're going to work this year. Obviously, De Grey will be looking after 1 or 2 rigs at any point in time this year, once the season becomes a bit more amenable. So we'll have a drill rig heading out, doing more Scout RC and follow-up. We are going to follow up the maiden RC drilling that we did down at Nunyerry North, where we've got pretty interesting, significant results, given that there's no drilling ever been done in a radius of about 50 kilometres of Nunyerry North. So we're working on that already, and we'll probably do some diamond drilling as well to try and really suss out the structural complexity there. We've also got a project at Balla Balla, which has stalled a little bit because we're just waiting on permit approvals, but we're expecting that as well before the middle of the year. And then Belltopper, we're diamond drilling at the moment, and you'll hear more about that going through. Now, this is it, the last slide. We think we're heading towards success. We think we've got all the ingredients that we need to define a standalone gold project. We've got plenty of targets on our own tenure. We've got a great team, a great portfolio, good joint ventures, and what else? Oh, and we're going to be doing project generation as well. So that's it. Happy days?
Oh.
Thank you. 10 minutes goes so quickly.
Don't tell anyone else I gave you. Thanks so much, Kaz. All right, now our last discussion today. This is a really interesting one. Do you know much about S&P Global Intelligence and what they do? I had a really interesting chat with the guys out there at the booth, I think time before last. You guys measure everything from beauticians to automotive to stars to, and in this case today, you are measuring global mineral exploration trends. There you go. So of all the things in the world, obviously related to a resources conference, that's what we're doing today. So this is Jarra Smith, everyone. He is the head of commodity sales here in Australia. Please make him very welcome and listen with interest. Thanks, Jarra.
Thanks very much. Thanks for hanging around for the last presentation today. Thank you to Vertical Events for once again putting on such a vibrant conference. Over the past 10 odd years of attending this event, I've always found it to be a great indicator of the year ahead. Today's presentation will provide the audience with an update of global exploration trends and key indicators for the year ahead. S&P Global recently released our Global Exploration Budget Report for 2023, which incorporates interviews with over 3,000 mining and exploration companies. Key findings indicate that macroeconomic headwinds and geopolitical tensions have had a significant impact on exploration activity globally. While metal prices are elevated compared to pre-pandemic levels, most have fallen considerably from their 2022 highs, with the global aggregate exploration budget falling slightly by 3% year over year from 2022. For 2024, we forecast exploration budgets to remain at current levels. However, should the macro environment and financing conditions remain as is, we believe that a modest year-over-year decline of around about 5% is the most likely scenario. Gold budgets, which typically account for around about half of the global exploration budget, slipped by 16% in 2023. This was enough to cancel out all the gains registered by base and battery metals. Looking forward, we see gold exploration bouncing back with the prospect of lower US inflation rates, interest rates, weaker dollar and ongoing geopolitical tensions continuing to drive the gold price and demand based on strong central bank buying and retail sales. While overall budgets declined in 2023, exploration for battery metals across copper, lithium, nickel, cobalt and zinc primarily continued their upward trend to an all-time high of US 1.6 billion, which was a 40% increase from 2022. This is despite significant price pressures in the lithium sector due to weakening demand. Declining consumer affordability has triggered some automakers to scale back electric vehicle production plans, which is likely to prolong the weakness in lithium prices and trigger further supply discipline from the mining sector. Looking at the copper market, it also features short-term supply-demand balance challenges. However, since December, we have seen a significant adjustment with a market surplus reducing, and we now expect copper smelters to feature a supply shortage of concentrate starting in 2024. Exploration budgets for lithium increased in 2023 by 77% to an all-time high of $830 million, displacing nickel as the top battery metal in 2023 and making it the third most explored commodity overall. The lithium story is largely shaped by junior explorers, allocating more to mostly early and late-stage assets, while nickel exploration is heavily influenced by major companies increasing activity at brownfield existing mine locations. Canada and Australia continue to be the top exploration hubs for these battery metals, which can be attributed to geology, discoveries driving interest, and the concentration of junior explorers on the TSXV, ASX, and also incentives to spend raised funds locally. Copper budgets increased 12% in 2023 to their highest level since 2013. Due to its role in decarbonisation and electrification, copper exploration is expected to be strong in the near term, as evident by an uptick in capital raisings by juniors in the second half of 2023. This is despite an environment with tight monetary conditions. When we look at global project drilling, the December slowdown trend of the past 2 years continued in 2023, finishing on a low note for total drill holes reported. The 2023 full year comparison shows the total reported drill projects to be 24% lower than in 2022. There was, however, an increase in early stage exploration in 2023 with an 8% increase, with mine site and late stage exploration both decreasing by approximately 25% in 2022. On a discovery front, there has historically been a strong correlation between exploration budgets and significant discoveries being made. As you can see from this chart, in the gold space, global reserves are declining without significant replenishment via new discoveries. Copper discoveries are also trending down despite increasing budgets and a long-term higher price, with easier at surface major tier 1 style discoveries not occurring. Nickel paints a similar picture, with major discoveries remaining scarce amid potential future supply deficits. Looking at the M&A space, the deal coverage was well dispersed in 2023 across gold, base and battery materials and across geographical jurisdictions. On a corporate ESG front, the increasing transparency demands and requirements from the global investment sector is resulting in higher levels of ESG reporting and ultimately performance from the sector. In summary, global mineral exploration remains strong despite a range of macroeconomic challenges to the sector. Strong battery material-driven exploration has been offset by a steep decline in gold exploration. This is, however, likely to change in 2024. A gap in significant discoveries across key commodities is likely to impact future supply. However, it does present opportunities for companies that are able to generate exploration success. Thank you.
Jarra, I'm going to have to ask you to come with me to get you a chocolate because they fleeced me. So I better behave than I thought. Okay, I will find you a nice big gold bar chocolate. Can you put your hands together for Jarra, everyone? Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who was discerning enough to stay in the room this afternoon. I hope you got some fantastic investment tips there from some of our last presenters. We'll be back tomorrow morning again at 8:30. We've got drinks going on outside at the bar for the next half an hour or so, courtesy of Gallagher. So make sure you take the opportunity and have some more chats with some of our presenters. Thank you, everyone.